नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Good evening, all of you. Take out your prayer books. We'll chant the prayers on page 7 and 8 together. Om Sahana vavatu Sahanau bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Om Asato ma Satgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Go to page 24 in your prayer book. If a man continuously hears bad words, thinks bad thoughts, does bad actions, his mind will be full of bad impressions, and they will influence his thought and work without his being conscious of the fact. These words are spoken by Swami Vivekananda, and here Swamiji is stressing on the importance of thought and thought process. Even though we don't realize, our thoughts are very strong. They have a great impact on us. The thoughts travel and they have a great influence in the way we act, react, and interact with people. So Swamiji says we should be careful with these thoughts because these thoughts become our habits and these habits develop our nature and behavior. So when we continuously expose ourselves to wrong ideas, wrong thoughts, wrong people, bad ideas, and when we spend time with negative things, negative aspects, then we develop negative qualities and we develop a negative mindset. And in such a situation, we are able to get only negative thoughts. So when we have such negative thoughts, all the good thoughts which are there in our mind already, they become negligible. The positivity which is already there in our mind is easily removed by a single negative thought. So that's why we should be careful with such thoughts. To illustrate this point, I would like to narrate an anecdote. A person is traveling in his car on a highway. After covering a certain distance, the vehicle breaks down. So he could not repair it. So he parks the vehicle and then he calls his mechanic. And the mechanic asked him to leave the vehicle there, and he said that he would send it after repairing it. So the man tried for a lift, but he could not get it. So he decided to walk. And he started using a shortcut, and he had to walk through a forest. So after walking for a few minutes, he feels thirsty, and he thinks of God, and he prays to God that if he had a little bit of water, he could quench his thirst. And after walking a few minutes, he listens. He is able to hear the sound of water. And he goes left and he finds a small stream. He drinks the water and he continues his journey. And after walking for a few more minutes, he feels hungry. He sits under a tree and again he thinks of God and thinks, if I get something to eat, then I will be getting sufficient energy to continue my journey. Immediately there is a strong wind and the fruits from that particular tree fall down. He eats those fruits and continues his journey. And after some time he feels tired. He thinks that if I have a soft bed, he could comfortably sleep. Then after walking further, he sees a lush green grass and he takes rest for some time. And then he continues. After walking for a few minutes, then he thinks, I am alone. I don't have anybody who is accompanying me. I don't even have a weapon along with me. If a wild animal attacks me in this forest, what would happen? Then immediately a tiger comes and it eats him. So the story ends there. So that is the impact of one negative thought. So all the positive thoughts which we had, he was getting benefit of it. But once he gets a negative thought, all the benefits become zero. It becomes nullified. So that is the great impact of a negative thought. That is why we should train our mind in such a way that we remove those negative thoughts from our mind as early as possible. Of course, it is not possible to some extent to stop those thoughts from entering our mind, but we can certainly train our mind to remove them from our mind. So again here Swamiji says, similarly, if a man thinks good thoughts and does good works, the sum total of these impressions will be good, and they, in a similar manner, will force him to do good even in spite of himself. So again Swamiji says, in the same situation, if we have a positive thought, then the same impact a positive thought will have on our mind, and because of that positivity, we will be able to continue our work, we will be able to achieve what we want to achieve, and we will be able to lead a successful life. So similarly, when we have a good thought, that good thought also has a great impact on us. It has its impact on our behavior, mannerism, interaction with others. So to illustrate this point, I would like to narrate a small anecdote here. So this is a story, it is a popular story from Akbar and Birbal series. And Akbar is a king and Birbal was his minister. So both of them went to a forest for hunting. So while hunting, accidentally, the finger of the king gets hurt, it gets cut, and it was bleeding. So he was feeling pain. At that moment, Birbal says, don't worry, king, anything which happens, it happens for good. So whatever God does for us, there is an inner meaning for it, so don't feel sad. So these words irritate the king, because first of all he got hurt and he had pain, and this man was telling that everything happens for our good. So it angered him, and immediately he orders his soldiers to put Birbal in the prison. And the next day the king again goes for hunting, and he goes further deep into the forest, and the soldiers could not follow him. So he was all alone. At that moment he enters into the territory of the local tribes there. So normally the kings or others don't enter into the territory. So accidentally he enters, and immediately they catch hold of him, they tie him, and they prepare him to sacrifice to their god. So they tie him, and he was there in front of the fire. At that moment, one particular person in that group observes this wound on the finger of this king. And he says that because of this wound, this person is not qualified to be given as a sacrifice. So they need an able-bodied person for a sacrifice. Immediately they untie him and he goes back to his palace. As soon as he reaches the palace, he first meets Birbal. He thanks him and he accepts that whatever God does, there is a reason behind it. And whatever happens, at that moment we may feel pain, but it is for something better for us. So the same thing is applicable to us also in our life. When we initially start something, then we feel happy. When we face a little difficulty or a problem or an obstacle, then we feel sad. When we fail, we feel sad. When we are unable to achieve something, we feel sad. But that should not dishearten us, that should not make us sad. We should feel that something better is in store for us. That is why God has not allowed us to pass here or not allowed us to do this. So with that hope, when we work hard, definitely with that thought, we develop positivity, and that positivity helps us to achieve success. So that is what is the message of Swami Vivekananda. Swamiji says, try to avoid negative thoughts and try to build positive thoughts, because that is the way to success. So this is what I wanted to share with you all. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Have a pleasant evening.